Oh, hi there. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the weekend shift. A new idea here in No Dunks land where we're just going to fire up the stream team whenever the hell we want. This is going to be a lot of fun because this is a YouTube exclusive. This won't be a podcast. I know that's going to be one of the first questions. Are you putting this into the Apple feed, into the Spotify feed? No, we're not. It's going to live here on YouTube and only YouTube. So you got to subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube if you haven't already. Like the video and share the show. Really appreciate it out. So yeah, just me right now. But the beauty, I think, of the weekend shift is you're never going to know who's going to pop in or how many of these we're going to do. So solo Skeets for this one. Do we see a Trey Kirby later in this particular show? Maybe. I don't know. The guys have busy lives. They have kids. But we're going to talk about last night's play-in games on this one. Look ahead to day one of the NBA playoffs. Talk to you guys in the stream team. So get your questions in. Save them if you want for a little bit later. And yeah, just hang for, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, something like that. And if this works, if we start getting our subscribers up with this type of content, then hell, maybe Lely's jumping on later today to immediately react to the Grizzlies-Wolves game or something like that. Or Tass is hosting one later. We'll see. So we'll have some fun with this. But I appreciate you guys joining me here on a Saturday afternoon. My yard workers just left. So the leaf blowers, the lawnmowers, they're done. Great timing. So hopefully we don't hear any of that in the background. I even closed the door, so Luna won't be making an appearance, at least on this one. Subscribe, like I said, to YouTube and share the show. We really, really appreciate it to try and get to 100,000. And Lee has promised that he'll do an entire Slim Dusty album if we get to 100,000 subscribers. He already owes us one for the 50K mark, some rendition of some, I don't know, what was it? Some Australian country singer. But maybe he'll do the whole album if we hit 100K. Okay, so I want to just talk about last night's play-in games, which were extremely entertaining. And then we'll set up what we're looking at here with day one, first game starting in, well, they say 1 p.m., right? But does anyone actually believe that? Here's today's schedule. 1 p.m. Eastern, Jazz Mavs. That's the 5-4 matchup here. What's the tip time on this? What do you guys think? 110, 107, 115? What do we got? Let's hear it in the stream team. When does that ball get thrown into the sky? Because it won't be 1 o'clock, of course. Hopefully it's closer to 1 o'clock than it is to 1:30. And I do have, I'm holding out hope for that because as you see here, we got a lot of basketball to watch. And I'm already sweating about the 6 p.m. game, which is the Raptors Sixers. And we'll be standing for that. I might be going over to my buddy Grish's to stand for that one. I'll start by standing on the road for game one. But anyway, playing games. We'll tackle them in order. I just have some thoughts. I'm sure you guys do too. Hawks, 107, Cavs 101. Big night for the Birds. Called it. I went 6 for 6 on my play-in predictions, so I can't wait to now get every playoff series wrong because there's no way I can keep that up. But what an unbelievable, second half from Trae Young. It was sort of insane. I think did he only have 10 points with like 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter? He had missed 10 of his 14 shots. I know that he had taken 1 free throw. He had, 4 turnovers to 8 assists, not all that great. He just looked out of funk. They were doing a great job on him. The Cavs defense was. And then he just went nuts there at the end of the third quarter and into the fourth. 28 points, I think Dan Devine had it as over the final 15 minutes of the game. Outscored the Cavs by himself, I think, in that particular span. Hitting 35-foot bombs. He's shimmying all over the place. He's waving goodbye. Look, it's so much fun to have somebody lean into the concept of being the villain. And he's not really even a villain. I mean, it's sort of funny that the villain of the NBA is like a guy basically my size, like the tiniest bit bigger, barely weighs even more than I do, that he's the villain. But I love that he just leans into it and does feel built for those type of moments because that was crazy. He just started cooking, I thought, Karis LeVert and Lauri Markkanen. Like any time they got one of those guys switched onto him in a pick and roll, it was lights out. Just Just amazing game from him. That's not really surprising, though, for being honest. We've seen him do this in last year's playoffs. I thought the other Hawks players that really chipped in, DeLon Wright was amazing putting pressure on Garland. He made life a lot more difficult for Darius Garland. I think the NBA.com matchup data had that as one field goal attempt in the 10 minutes DeLon Wright was on Garland. So, like, it's one thing to not let the guy score while you're guarding him. It's another thing to not have the guy even really shoot at all. So that was great. I was worried with Nate McMillan going away from him there in the fourth. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But he was awesome. Okongwu stepping in for Capella, who got injured. Huge second half minutes. I mean, nearly 20 of them. I think that guy, Capella can set a screen. Okongwu can really set a screen. I thought that really helped unlock Trey a little bit. Did work on the boards, great defense. He had that huge play where he slid across to break up the lob, who I think was intended for Mobley. I think that was a Karis LeVert. Gallinari sort of trying to prevent that. Not the greatest pass from Karis LeVert there, of course, but huge play from Okongwu to break that up. That would have been a 1-point game. Instead, Hawks went down and scored. So huge. And then Bogdanovic, who I remember seeing on Friday reports that he wasn't even going to play. And here he is. He scored 19 off the bench on only 8 shots. I thought really sort of, set the tone for at least the Hawks when Trae Young was struggling in the first half by scoring. So DeLon Wright, Bogdanovic, and Okongwu were there. Those 3 chipping in were massive because that first half, you guys were watching it. I could not believe the wide open looks the Cavs were getting. Like Lauri Markkanen was Steph Curry, yes, hitting 3 after 3, but he was wide open on so many of those, as were all the Cavs players. And I joked on Twitter, you guys have heard tasks before, guys that miss threes because they're too wide open. I was like, is that the defensive strategy here from the Hawks? It's like, hey, just leave them way open. They won't make them. And no, they're NBA players. They generally will. That was just a weird game from the defensive identity or backbone or intensity from the Hawks, which was non-existent, and they turned it up, of course, in the second half. But Hawks moving on. I'm happy about it. Of course, living here in Atlanta, I can now hopefully go down and catch game 3 or 4 versus the Heat. And I just think it's more entertaining series versus Miami. I have the Heat in 6, so I think it's going to be a bit of a battle. Whereas, the Cavs, I don't know. Maybe I would have had the Heat in 5. I'm not sure. But I just think with Trae Young, he's such an equalizer, right? It's like, we've seen this, and why couldn't we see this in a game or 2 or 3 against Miami? As great as they are defensively, if they get Hero in action, Duncan Robinson in action with Trae matched up, which they're going to seek out, then he could do this again. So I just think it's a better 1-8 series. And tell me if you agree or disagree. But I'm very, very excited that Atlanta at least makes it in there. As for Capella, I don't know yet if we have our MRI results for his hyperextended right knee. I'm not sure we know that yet. I know it's supposed to happen today. That looked gross. He hobbled off. They showed us what? How many times did they show us on the broadcast? Holy crap. Did we see that like 20 times? Which I don't know. Maybe I'm a weirdo. I can watch it and I'm not like, I'm not getting queasy with one of those. When somebody's bone pops out of like their wrist, then yeah, I'm maybe have to go to the washroom. But the knee just buckling back, it doesn't make you feel great, but you're like, okay. But holy man, they were playing it time after time after time after time. And we'll see if he can go in this series and just how serious it is. Didn't look good. Couldn't believe he didn't call for a flagrant on that. We get upset when sometimes, in my opinion, a flagrant is called only because the player goes down hard and maybe gets injured. And it's like, okay, that was maybe a common foul. But you're really upgrading it to a flagrant because of the injury. Well, I guess it's good to know the same can be true if you commit the flagrant, but then you get injured, and we'll just say common. That was fascinating. It was like he pulled him down from behind. It's not a play on the ball. And now he's just very unlucky that Mobley getting pulled down rolled into your knee. Weird. I guess they felt bad. And they're like, well, he's going to be out of this game, so we won't give them the flagrant foul. But that was strange. Just strange stuff there. That's really all I have on the Hawks game. I'm like I said, I have Heat in 6. I think there will be a lot of people saying, I think wrongfully, Heat in 4, 5, sure, but I think this is going to be a lot more of a series than maybe some people think. The Hawks were just you have to almost forget the first half of their season, which was terrible, disappointing, garbage, and really look at what they've done over the last, second half of the season, playing defense a little bit better. Big part of that Hunter coming back. Trae Young, like I said, just no one wants to play a guy like that in a playoff series because he can change it. Like those bombs that he was hitting, it's like, what do you do on those? Lowry, Jimmy, they're going to get time on him. That'll be fun. And just them being the vets and, getting away with some extracurricular, I'm sure, sort of holding here and there and bumps here and there and see if they can fluster him. I can't wait for that. But I think it's going to be a series. I just don't think it's going to be a sweep at all. Sure, if you want to talk me into 5, but I'll go Heat in 6. As for the other game, the late night game, also great, wild, insane. The swings in this one. Pelicans win 105-101. The Birds came through. As I said on Friday's podcast, they did it. So you got the Hawks, and the Pelicans. I don't know what sound a Pelican makes. I don't even know where to start. Do Pelicans even make sounds? I guess they do. They became just the 4th team in NBA history to start a season 1-12 or worse and make the playoffs. They joined the 96-97 Suns, the 84-85 Cavs, and the 67-68 Bulls. I wonder what Trey Kirby knows about the 67-68 Bulls. And sticking with the Bird theme, hey, I had to eat crow on this one. Not that I didn't pick the Pelicans last night to beat the Clippers. I did do that, but when they started 1-12, I said, well, that's a wrap. The season is over. They're not doing anything. They're not making the play-in. They're not making the playoffs. Like, oh my God, what's going on with Zion? And I was wrong. Incredible turnaround. The trade, huge. McCollum and Larry Nance Jr., who we'll get to in a second, in last night's game particularly, coming from the Blazers. All these rooks that they drafted and have uncovered, contributing, and Brandon Ingram playing like an all-NBA forward. He is not going to make it here this year, but moving forward, why not? He's probably got a couple in his future. Just really, really amazing that they got into the playoffs. And Willie Green, the speech was fantastic. People are saying, yeah, Dan wants to know, would you run through a wall for Willie Green, Skeets? I think you would, because by all accounts, that's out of character for Willie Green. Like Willie Green he's not dropping that type of speech every second or third game, right? And I know this is a special game. It's win or go home. But even from the Pelicans reading after it, we're like, man, that was unlike Willie, which was great. And I'm glad that the broadcast showed us that and they got that. Kudos to him. He didn't even swear in that, right? He dropped a freaking instead. He's like, oh, this will be good. Maybe this will make the broadcast. Better not swear. They may not use it. So yes, the answer is yes. God damn right, I'd run through a wall for Willie Green. But weird game because Pelicans were up 10 at halftime, and then the Clippers just went on that massive run over like the final minute of the second quarter into the third quarter. Ty Lue goes, all right, we're going with Covington in the second half. We're going small, and they went on a 34-6 run, and it didn't look good for Pelicans fans, I'm sure. It's like, whoa, wow. They just got hit in the face here. And kudos to Willie, man. I thought he coached his ass off. He trying to find okay, how do we counter this? Do we go small? Okay, let's try that. Do we stay big? Damn, that's not working. And then he finally got the lineup, which of course worked, which was Brandon Ingram and McCollum. Of course, they're going to be out there. And then Larry Nance Jr., monster in this game. They don't win this game without him. The work he did on the boards, the ability to switch as they're big and sort of defend a lot of the positions, just great. Trey Murphy III hitting timely threes, getting the lucky bounce on the one. I was smiling ear to ear because he was my insane dark horse for Rookie of the Year in the preseason. I showed him some love. So great moment for him. Great timing. And then Herb Jones. So that was the lineup. B.I., McCollum, Larry Nance, Trey Murphy, and Herb Jones playing most of the minutes down the stretch and helping them secure a playoff spot, which is insane. Again, not only starting 1-12, but it was 2 Blazers, Brandon Ingram, JV for sure too, Valanciunas, and then 3 rookies here in Herb Jones, who had an unbelievable season and played great in this game, Jose Alvarado, and then Trey Murphy III. This is what eventually got them in to the actual playoffs. It's pretty wild with a rookie coach versus a vet team in the Clippers. Now, I shouldn't have skipped over this. The big news after we did Friday's Drop podcast was, I don't know, was it an hour or two later? Paul George isn't playing. He's in health and safety protocols. Like, whoa, holy crap. The biggest game of their season, and he can't play. So that was unfortunate for them. Who knows? I had the Pelicans winning the game, thinking Paul George was playing. Do I change my pick when the news breaks? It's possible. Why would I have changed it then? Actually, I was a little scared. Suddenly Paul George wasn't playing. You're like, is that going to even get these? Trey Mann's going to have one of those 35-point games. But yeah, a lot of people are taking the Clippers in this because of their experience and thinking PG was playing, and they still lost. So what a big win. Now, do I think the Pelicans are going to make for a more exciting 1-8 matchup versus the Suns than maybe the Clippers would have? Probably not. I tweeted this morning my official picks because I hadn't, thrown number or winner on these 1-8 matchups yet. Obviously on yesterday's show because we didn't know. I'm going Suns in 5. There are a lot of Suns in 4. McCollum, though, and Brandon Ingram's playmaking, as we saw in these last 2 play-in games, it can win you a game. It can. They're hitting tough shots, but those guys are smooth, and when they are on, they are dangerous. So I will say that the Pelicans grab 1, and I'll go Suns in 5. But I see a lot of people here in the stream team dropping Suns in 4. I've had a long time off here, and that game 1 goes on Sunday. So we'll see how it goes. So that's really all the thoughts I have on those games. I guess to go back to the Atlanta HawksCavs game, one thought that I forgot to bring up was the whistle was a weird one in that game. And not that I thought a team got hosed by the refs or anything like that, but the whistle felt like a second late every second call. Is that just me? Let me know on the stream team. It would the play would happen, the contact or non-contact would happen, and there was a beat. And then it was then it was the whistle. And it felt like so many let's just see if that shot goes in. Let's see how badly it misses. Was he then hit? See how the player sells it. It was this is odd. So I thought it was happening on both sides. And then I was starting to get in my head. I was like, is my audio screwed up? Is there a delay on the broadcast? Yeah. So I didn't think it was their finest work. Maybe it was a little bit the audio, but it felt like it was always a little beat happening. But in the end, I don't think it decided the game, the officials in either one of these. I really don't. Tell me if I am wrong on that one. People love to talk about refs. I've actually been talking about the officials more than I usually do over the last couple of shows. Let me get some coffee here as I cough. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Birds winning. And I'm very excited, of course, for today's games ones. I'll throw this back up for your schedule. Here you go. Jazz Mavs. Wolves in Memphis take on the Grizzlies. Do I still have time to try and get to Memphis to watch that game? No, I don't. The answer is I don't. Excuse me. Raptors Sixers at 6. Followed by the Nuggets and the Warriors, the late game. 8:30 start there on a Saturday. That one's on ABC. All the other 3 on ESPN. So a ton of basketball this weekend. I got things to do too, unfortunately. I got a long run in me for my marathon training, but that'll be tomorrow. I think what we'll do, got 18 miles on the workout. Might do a treadmill run because I have actual errands to run in the morning. And so I think, what's the 1 o'clock start? What's the 1 o'clock start on Sunday? I don't have it in front of me. Maybe it's the Heat. We'll throw it on the treadmill there and just put in some miles while I just watch the game. That might be the move. But today, with these games starting in a half an hour, 40 minutes, I got to put together a dresser. So usually not a big deal. You put together the dresser while you're watching the game, right? That's fine. But the dresser is living in one of the spare bedrooms, which doesn't have a TV. So then the debate is, do I build it, in front of the television and then try and move it into the room, sort of tight quarters, could be a little difficult, or the better plan is to just build it in the room. So we might have to just do that. Maybe I'll just have to get it on, just watch it on my phone or watch it on the computer or something like that. We'll probably do that. NBA radio, underrated, says Ziggy. I listened to about 8 minutes of Cavs Hawks on the radio yesterday because I ran my wife somewhere in the car, and it is great. It was funny. I was listening to the Hawks broadcast, and it was very deflating because they were like, well, we're not going to win if we can't hit a shot. Also not going to win if the Cavs don't miss a wide open three. And it was because it was in the first half that I was listening for the short ride that I was driving Nora, and it was very, very funny. So they couldn't hit a shot, which appeared or sounded, at least in the time I was in the car, open, and the Cavs could not miss because they were wide open, and Larry Markkinen was on fire there. So very funny. But I agree. Basketball on the radio. No, Rylan, it's not as bad as you think. It's different. You need a good play-by-play on the radio call for a basketball game. That is important. I'm sure. I don't know all the teams on the calls for all of the radio broadcast, but I'm sure some are much better than others because I can imagine that being like quite a skill. But it's very, very fun. Okay, so I'll call it here. That's what's going to happen with the weekend shifts. They're not going to be hour-long shows. They're not going to be 90-minute shows. They're generally going to be 20 to 30 minutes. Sharing our thoughts. I think a lot of them moving forward, hopefully, again, if you guys subscribe, if you guys like the video, if you share the show, will be reactions to games, like sort of hopefully in the moment. It's on the weekend. Everybody's busy here with the No Dunks teams, but we're watching these games. So hopefully a couple of the guys, be it combos, solos, whatever, jump on to talk to you and to give our immediate thoughts on some of these. I would love, in theory, to jump on and talk about the Wolves-Grizzlies game if it lives up to the hype. Going to be tight there with the Raptors-Sixers starting soon after that. So we'll play it by ear. And again, let us know in the comments if you like this. If you're a fan, drop the thumbs up, hit that little bell or notification button if you subscribe to No Dunk so you know when we're going live, because a lot of these will just be like, all right, I got thoughts on that game. Hey, Trey, you want to talk about it? Hey, Tess, you want to talk about it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Jump on. So you're not going to have hours of advance notice here is what I'm getting at. So we'll see, but let us know if you like it. Until the next weekend shift, or hey, maybe Monday's podcast. We'll see you soon. Embrace game ones here of the NBA playoffs, guys. Take care.
You could stay